We're almost to the end of the year, and have I scratched the surface of all the books I want to read? No. No, I have not. Hey everyone, it's Jananie and welcome back to my channel, This Story Ain't Over. Today I thought it might be fun to do a quick little tag video. The last time I did a tag was for the mid-year book freakout, and I thought it might be nice to do the end of year book tag. This was created by Ariel Bissett, and I haven't done this tag in a couple years, I think, but I wanted to do it this year because I feel like I just need a reset before the end of the year. I have so many books that I need to get to, and I thought I would check in with you guys to let you know where I'm at with my reading. Now, a couple housekeeping things before we get into the tag. I did want to remind all of you about some exciting news that I announced a couple months ago. I have now launched my own publishing imprint. It's called Boundless Press, and I am launching it in collaboration with this platform called Bindery. It's a new startup, and on Bindery you can sign up to become one of my community members and gain access to exclusive content from me, and also get to see a behind the scenes of the entire publishing process as I publish books with Boundless Press. I'm already loving the community that we've started on Bindery, and I've just been having so much fun with the content that I've been creating for Bindery. So go check it out at the link down below. I did a video reading the pitches for some of these submissions to my imprint, and I also did a video about my thoughts on the 4 books that I've shortlisted for publishing. It is such an exciting process, and I'm currently making my way through probably my top contender for publishing, and I'm just so freaking excited. So if you want to be part of that process, see what's happening, and have a part in making the decision of what I publish with my imprint, then definitely go join it down below. Now, aside from that, if you don't have the capacity to pay for anything, and if you just want to be part of a community in general, I have recently launched a free Discord for all of my lovely viewers here. You guys are amazing, and I want to do something for you guys that allows you to connect with each other and chat with each other. So I started this Discord. There are so many different channels on there where you can discuss everything from like book news to book hauls to your favorite movies and TV shows to the podcasts that you're listening to. I do spend some time every week peeking in there and joining the chats with some of you guys, and I will be hosting some reading sprints on the Discord as well at different points in the month, so definitely go join down below. With that said, let's get into the first question on this video, which is, are there any books that you've started this year that you need to finish before the end of the year? So I definitely have a few for this question because I'm so chaotic, and I always start multiple different books and flip-flop between a bunch, and it's just the ADHD. I like can't stop. But there's a couple that I'm currently in the middle of that I'll talk about in later questions for this video, but the other 3 that I need to finish are, first, I'm a Fan by Sheena Patel. This is a book that I picked up on ebook, and I started it I think a couple months ago, and it is going pretty good. I'm only a few chapters into the book, but it's one of those like chaotic girl energy books, and it involves a main character who's like having an affair and is obsessed with the woman that the man she's having an affair with is also sleeping with. It taps into like social media and influencer culture and that kind of thing from what I've heard, and I'm just like so fascinated by the idea of like obsession in the book, so I'm excited to finish it. I just need to get around to it. The next book that I need to finish is, of course, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I actually have a vlog coming where I started reading this book and where I explore bookstores in Toronto, so that video is coming. I just need to edit it. Maybe it'll be up before this video, but no guarantees. So yeah, you can look forward to some of my thoughts on Fourth Wing there, but I do plan to finish it before the end of this year, before the sequel comes out, so here's hoping. And then the last book that I am currently in the middle of is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I've read this book 1,000 times, and this is my most recent reread of it. I started rereading it on my vacation while I was in the UK, and it was just such a vibe, and it was just nice to like delve back into a really familiar story. So I do want to finish my reread. I think I'm about halfway through the book right now, so I definitely want to get to it at some point, but since I'm back from vacation, I feel like I've been needing to prioritize like the other books on my TBR rather than rereading something, so we'll see. All right, next question. Do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? So I have a couple for this one, and I think both of them will give me the atmosphere that I'm looking for fall, for spooky season. I know Halloween is like almost upon us, but I'm still gonna be reading spooky books after that. So the first one is The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. This one, I've read her other book, Vampires of El Norte. I read it on vacation, and my thoughts on that will be coming very soon in a wrap up for September and October. But this book is her debut novel, and also involves like similar ambiance as Vampires of El Norte, but does not involve vampires. From what I know, this is like a gothic horror. It's also got a little bit of romance to it, and for the most part, I've heard really good things about this one, so I'm excited to dive into it, and I definitely think it's going to give me like the fall vibes I'm looking for. The other book that I think will work really well for the autumnal transition is Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. There's also an adaptation of this coming very soon, or that's already out. I think it's a TV show, but I know there's also like a movie that's like really old that everyone kind of loves and hates, but it's got a lot of like queer coding to it. So I really want to watch both adaptations, and I feel like I need to read the book before I do that. And I also feel like because it's one of the most like classic vampire books out there, I need to read it. All right, the next question is there still a new release that you're waiting for? And I personally don't have one, so I decided to do a different question for this, which is, are there any new releases from this year that you still need to get to? So for me, the one that's definitely on my mind is Silver Nitrate by Silvia Moreno Garcia. For those of you who have been following my channel for a long time now, you know that Silvia Moreno Garcia is one of my favorite authors ever. I love basically anything she writes, and this is her newest novel that has come out. It came out earlier this year, I believe, and I just need to get to it. I know it's one of her books that's more on the horror side, even though she has quite a range of books. And this one delves a bit into like Mexican horror films and involves a curse on this legendary lost film. I'm excited to just like dive into a familiar author that I love, so cannot wait to pick this one up. All right, the next question is, what are 3 books that you want to read before the end of the year? So I definitely have too many books to read before the end of the year. There's never enough time, really. But the first book that I definitely want to finish before the end of the year, and one that I've already started, is Minor Detail by Adania Shibley. This book takes place in the summer of 1949, a year after the Nakba, which is the event where 700,000 Palestinians were driven out of their home, and which is an event that Israel calls the War of Independence. In the book, we go over the history of Israeli soldiers who capture and rape a young Palestinian woman and kill and bury her in the sand. And from there, the book takes a perspective of this young woman in Ramallah who discovers this minor detail in history and becomes fascinated with it to the point of obsession. This is a quote from the description of the book. It says, "Minor detail cuts to the heart of the Palestinian experience of dispossession, life under occupation, and the persistent difficulty of piecing together a narrative in the face of ongoing erasure and dispowerment." For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you know that I've been quite clear about my thoughts on the genocide going on in Gaza, and I urge you guys to continue speaking up about the matter. Call your reps, email your reps, and also donate to reputable organizations. I'm gonna link a fundraiser to this video, so please consider donating. Now, with that said, the next book that I really want to finish before the end of the year is Against the Loveless World by Susan Abul Hawa. This is a book that's been on my radar for ages now, and since starting reading it, I've just been so impressed by the author's writing. The book follows a young Palestinian refugee who slowly becomes radicalized as she's searching for a better life for her and her family throughout the Middle East. The book actually opens up with the main character in solitary confinement in a country that she doesn't know, and she's reflecting on the days and the dramatic events that brought her to this point. It's quite a searing novel, and I'm just so excited to see what happens next and how the book ends. And then the final book that I definitely want to get to before the end of the year is one that's been on my TBR for literally forever, and that is Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. I absolutely loved Carmen Maria Machado's memoir, which is In the Dream House, and I'm sure that this book is going to be no less gut-punching and heartbreaking. And this one in particular is a set of short stories that all have some sort of speculative element to them and just talk about the realities of women's lives and the violence that is visited upon them. Now, question number 5 is a pretty exciting one, and it goes, is there a book that you think could still shock you and become your favorite of the year? I have read quite a few amazing and incredible books this year, but the one book that I think is still gonna shock me is The 7 Moons of Mali Almeida by Shehan Karunatikala. This is a book that is set in Sri Lanka in the 1990s and follows the ghost of a war photographer and also closet gay. And I've already started reading this book and I'm already loving the vibes of it. It both has some real world issues and topics that it's talking about, while also having a really cool speculative element to it that speaks to those themes. I'm not too far into this one, but I think I've just been like dragging my feet on getting to it further and like finishing it because I know it's just gonna like wrench my soul and just leave me with a book hangover. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this one, and I think it's definitely gonna be a favorite for the year. And then the final question on this book tag is, have you already started making reading plans for next year? I am honestly just really excited for the new year in general because I'm going into it with a very different life and outlook than I had at the beginning of 2023. A lot of things have changed for me this year, and I think I'm excited to enter the new year with like all of these new changes. And one of those is just the fact that I am now like living alone and I have more time and capacity to make more content and make the kind of content that I want to. So I'm definitely just looking forward to doing a lot of that and reading a lot to go along with that. I think in January, I definitely want to do a lot of like cozy books, cozy fantasy, cozy thrillers. And then in February, I definitely want to get on the romance reading train and, you know, curl up with a few of those. And just in general, I think one goal I have for next year is to read more thrillers, because I think that's like one genre that I've sort of neglected overall, and I want to read more. Like, I do enjoy thrillers, I just feel like it takes a lot for me to want to pick one up, and I find most of the time I do end up enjoying them, so I definitely want to try more. So if you have any recommendations with thrillers I should try out that you think I would enjoy, definitely leave them down below. And with that, we are at the end of the tag, so thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know what your answers would be for this end of year book tag, especially for the question of the books that you want to get to before the end of the year. As always, if you want to get regular updates on what I'm doing and what I'm reading, then definitely go check out my Instagram, TikTok, and Bindery feed. And as always, please remember that this story ain't over. Bye!